Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
More Michiganders will soon be eligible to get a COVID vaccine, though there's concern local communities may not be prepared to handle even more demand. Right?
Can the vaccine help people battling lingering effects from COVID? Have any deaths been linked to the vaccine? And do vaccinated people really need to wear 2 masks? I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge, answering your questions about the vaccine coming up.
New revelations today in the domestic terror case involving a plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. We're learning that plot may have gone unnoticed if not for one brave postal worker. And we start here at 6 with the new evidence brought to light at a hearing involving several members of the so-called Wolverine Watchmen group.
Today's testimony centered on Paul Bellar, Joseph Morrison, and Pete Musico, how they used aggressive rhetoric about harming the governor and other authority figures to recruit others on Facebook.
But today we learned the key to stopping the plot may have been the FBI's man on the inside, keeping agents up to date on what was being said. Local 4 defender Sean Lay has more on who this man is and the key role he played.
So much of this case is based on an FBI confidential informant. Today in court, we learned that the FBI says he's a veteran and a postal worker from Flint who did not like what he was hearing from the Wolverine Watchman. He went to the FBI with that information. That's all he wanted to do. But the FBI convinced him to infiltrate the group and do a lot more, including risk his life.
He just wanted to notify us about the Wolverine Watchmen and tell us that the group was a danger to law enforcement.
In court today, the FBI says a Flint man joined the Wolverine Watchmen, saying he was a veteran, a patriot, but after hearing some of the group's alleged plans, he went right to the FBI.
Not only did they have a perceived grievance and hatred toward law enforcement, but they were taking overt steps, or at least they were saying they were taking overt steps to locate law enforcement officers' addresses in order to target them and kill them later.
And that was it. That man wanted out, but the FBI asked him to stay with the Watchmen, wear a wire, record everything, and risk his life.
Well, I recognized their rhetoric, and I recognized the threat they posed, and I recognized the propensity for violence they had, and the FBI didn't have an ability to stop it.
Facing state charges, Pete Musico, Joe Morrison, and Paul Bellar, charged with providing material to support terroristic acts. The FBI says the men trained on Musico's property in Munith, setting deadly traps in case police raided it.
He had propane canisters set up throughout the property so that he could shoot them and act as IEDs if law enforcement approached. He also had man traps and shotgun shells on mouse traps set up throughout the property. He described having fishing line set up in the woods with shotgun shells attached to it, and then he described having buried caches of weapons.
This pretrial hearing went for hours today. It is expected to also continue tomorrow with more twists and turns. Sean Lay, Local 4 Defenders.
That is something. All right, Sean. Meanwhile, Governor Whitmer made a surprise announcement today involving the COVID vaccines.
Starting Monday, March 8th, people 50 and up with pre-existing conditions can start getting their vaccines. Then on the 22nd, that expands to everyone 50 years of age and older. Our Grant Herms joins us now. And Grant, this is a bit of a double-edged sword because it means more work for already exhausted local health departments.
And it also came as quite the surprise to those local health departments. You know, this isn't just people over 50, it's also people with disabilities and their at-home caregivers. In all, we're talking about close to 1.5 million people added to this pool of those looking for vaccines, while we know that so many are still struggling to get vaccinated.
With the state set to expand who can get a vaccine in just 5 days, local health departments already struggling to make sure the most at risk get their shots will have more on their plate.
Because there's been a lot of frustration along the way, and I think a lot of it has been due to the fact there hasn't been a lot of working together with the health departments.
Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle has been a frequent critic of the state's vaccine rollout. He says his county can do as many vaccinations as the entire state is doing daily, but the supply just hasn't followed. And now, with adding more potential patients, he says his health department will be stretched even more thinly.
Our health departments have been cautioning against this for the past several months, and begging for more vaccines. And again, it's a challenge.
But others around the state seemed confident they could handle the influx of recipients. Detroit's chief of public health today suggesting it would be business as usual, writing, "We will update our eligibility requirement once a week, which we did yesterday. We will expect another eligibility announcement next week." And the state's hospital association backing the expansion. The CEO there writing, "The significant increase in vaccine supply to our state this week is an encouraging sign that we will be able to vaccinate 70% of our adult population more quickly than originally planned." Now, we also reached out to Oakland, Washtenaw, and the Wayne County Health Department here, but did not get a response back. We also tried MDHHS, and our messages weren't returned there either. Kimberly?
So, Grant, do we know how far ahead of schedule that this puts the state?
This does put us significantly ahead of the state schedule that they put out online. It also mixes up some of those groups. The groups that will be eligible next Monday are going to be 2 months ahead of schedule. And then those who are 50 years and older without pre-existing conditions weren't supposed to get vaccinated until this summer. So this puts them very far ahead of that schedule. It also jumps some essential workers that were hoping to be next in line.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Grant, thank you.
Now, today's coronavirus headlines: a Republican-led proposal to spend billions in COVID aid will head to Governor Whitmer's desk.
However, the legislature has tied some of the money to Governor Whitmer giving up emergency pandemic powers. That makes it highly unlikely the governor signs the aid package as is. Meanwhile, the state reports 1,536 new cases and 5 more deaths. The University of Michigan reports its COVID cases have decreased from 62% of Washtenaw County's cases 2 weeks ago to 27% of cases currently.
Been a stunner of an early March day.
Yeah, the temperatures have been nice, but we're headed for a drop in those temperatures, right, Ben?
Yeah, in fact, it's starting already, guys. If you missed out on that 57 from earlier, you're going to have to wait till next week. We may get back there, but it's going to be a while before it happens. You're looking at high temperatures here this afternoon, only upper 40s there once you get into the north zone, but most of the area got into the 50s. And you can see from Metro Airport South, they were a lot closer to 60 than they were 50. Here's Storm Tracker 4, and we're not completely dry. There's a cold front coming through. You can see a couple of those blips there in the north zone. Little bit of some moisture there. That's probably as much as we're going to see, but don't be surprised to see a raindrop there in the north zone, at least to the evening hours tonight. Clouds increasing and temperatures a far cry from what we saw today as we get into the next couple. We'll look at that and a big change for next week. You can get a sneak peek at it at the local forecasters app. It's got your 10-day forecast, and you can track those sprinkles tonight as well. Free in your app store by searching WDIV. Guys?
All right, Ben, back to you in just a few minutes. There are developments at each of the big 3 auto companies, including profit-sharing checks and the growing impact of the worldwide chip shortage we've been talking about. At Stellantis, 43,000 workers in the UAW are going to receive $8,000 profit-sharing checks. Ford reports its February sales were down 14% from last year in the midst of the pandemic, extreme winter weather, and that global chip shortage. And because of that chip shortage, General Motors is extending temporary shutdowns at 3 of its North American plants.
President Biden signs off on a plan to place stricter income caps on the next round of stimulus payments. The move is being called a crucial concession to moderate Democrats. The proposal would disqualify individuals earning more than $80,000 from receiving stimulus checks of up to $1,400. The Senate is likely to take its first vote later today. Supporters need to clear a Senate procedural vote, with the chamber having a 50-50 party split before debate can begin. The partisan divide appears firm.
They needed to save the other 91% of the borrowed money for a vast catalog of liberal spending with basically no relationship whatsoever to beating COVID-19. For example, they want to send wheelbarrows of cash to state and local bureaucrats to bail out mismanagement from before the pandemic.
It doesn't matter what's in the bill. Everything my colleagues oppose is, quote, a liberal wish list. That's what many of them call it. Well, let me tell you, this bill is not a liberal wish list. This is an American wish list.
If the bill passes the procedural vote, 20 hours of debate would begin before final passage could be considered.
Our Dr. Frank McGeorge has received thousands of questions from viewers about the COVID vaccines, and tonight he's back to answer more of your concerns, starting with a question about so-called long haulers. Doc?
Well, Devin, so Rita asks, can the vaccine help with the lingering side effects of having the virus? Well, unfortunately, Rita, the answer is no. And big picture, we aren't really even completely sure what factors are involved in some people having prolonged after effects of a coronavirus infection. Now, here are some more of your questions. A viewer asks, have there been a significant number of deaths from getting the vaccine? And if so, why are they not being reported? That's a very fair question now that over 50 million people have received at least one dose of a vaccine in the United States. The CDC published data that's been collected in the vSafe smartphone-based monitoring system and VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. For the first month of the vaccine rollout, between December 14th and January 13th, just over 13 million vaccine doses had been administered. In that time, there were 518 serious events in people who received the vaccine who were not long-term care facility residents. Of those 518 serious events, there were 35 deaths, 16 after the Pfizer vaccine and 19 after the Moderna vaccine. Review of 16 of the reported deaths indicated underlying heart disease, cancer, stroke, probable pulmonary embolism, and otherwise frail health as the cause of death. At the time of publication, the remainder were still being investigated. Big picture, these are monitoring systems that cannot identify a cause and effect relationship without investigation, but that is still a very small number of deaths among the millions of vaccine doses administered. Now finally, Janice asks, if we are already vaccinated with both shots, do you recommend wearing double masks or will a single mask be sufficient? So double masking reduces the amount of respiratory droplet that are both inhaled by the wearer and breathed out toward other people. If you are fully vaccinated, your chances of being infected or asymptomatically spreading the virus is dramatically reduced. And at that point, it just becomes a question of personal values. Personally, for me, I've been vaccinated, and I only wear one mask in public. Back to you.
I know that's a question you're getting a lot. All right, Doc.
A local steel plant is in the crosshairs of environmental advocates. Coming up, what they're saying about AK Steel and how they're trying to get the owner to follow clean air rules.
But first, Governor Whitmer gets a look at one of the many bridges in our area that is in bad need of repair. Her infrastructure plan next.